One thing you mentioned coming from that old school background, and I think old school, especially with the direct mail, back in the day, we're talking 15, 20-page A4 sales letters, and that I feel like it's slowly starting to morph, and I can only judge it by my own experience. Back in the day, I'd read through those because it's that age-old line we've all heard before. Copy can never be too long, just too boring, right? So if it hooks you and it drags you in, you're going to read all of the material. Even with that said, I feel like there's an evolution, and I don't know if it's coming from my own self or whether or not this is something that's happening across the board. We are seeing a lot of shortening of sales letters, and, when we're told to write a good sales letter, we are told to make sure you have the appropriate subheads because the chances are the person is only going to read those subheads anyway. So wondering on your thoughts, especially coming from that old school writing long sales letters, do you see... Is there ever going to be a change in the shortening and the tightening of that copy, maybe where the sales letter, you almost like embed the entire sales process into a video with short copy underneath it? Just interested to get your thoughts on if I'm picking it up or if it's not actually there.
No, here's the story, and it's worth talking. I'll try to keep it as short and precise as possible. Old school direct mail letters were not 15 and 20 pages. They were 4, 8, or 12 pages long. The reason they were 4, 8, or 12 pages long is that's how printing presses work. They work in things of 4. A 4-page sales letter front and back would be 2 physical pages printed front and back. The number of pages you had mattered because the heavier your letter was, the more you would pay in postage. So old school top-end writers learned to write 8, sometimes 4, usually 8 or 12-page letters, occasionally up to a 16-page letter, because there would be other things in there like a return envelope and a order form and often some other elements. And the price of the package mattered. So guys learned to write very concisely. Now, I should also tell you that a full-page newspaper ad, where you see a lot of copy, you probably seen it. What's the name of the local paper there? I read it. It was a great paper.
Your Herald Sun?
Yes, the Herald Sun. A full page of copy seems like a lot, but it's not. A newspaper full page of copy is about an 8-page letter. A full page of copy in a magazine is under 3 pages. So you think about that. So even though it's long copy, it's very dense, it's going on, it's not what you think. What happened online, Dave, was that there were no constrictions on the length. So I definitely remember when I saw my first 30-page scrolling website. It was 30 manuscript pages on a single scroll. And what happened was there was no logical or there was no physical reason not to write until you were absolutely exhausted and you could stop writing. Online, you are not penalized for length. So people got longer and longer and longer and longer. The old school guys like me, we've never gone beyond the old thing. I type out in Word, so it's page by page, and I'm still writing 8 and 12 page letters. Now, sometimes I'll go up to 20 because I can, and I'm adding stuff, but that adds, testimonials or other stories or things like that. I'm still as concise as possible. And the rule is not to be boring, but you start at your story. You start at the beginning of your story. You get attention. You start building interest and desire. You work through all the things you need to do to establish in your prospect's mind that you have credibility, that what you have is something that he can start picturing in his mind, and you work up to and into the actual sales process. Here's what you need to do now. And you start working through that. When you're done, you stop, you sit back, and you look at it. And how long was it? That's how long you need it. Now, if you're really good, you can go back and you start chopping stuff out. Here's a tip for newbies out there writing. Drop all the adjectives. Just stop relying on adjectives. If you don't know what an adjective is, look it up. And then realize those are the colorful words that people get caught up in when they think they're describing something, and really all they're doing is just adding words to the message. Make your verbs do all the work. That's just one tip, and that's something I can talk about in another call, maybe, Dave. But let's see, the point I was going to make. Oh, and in video, a lot of people think short videos or short, sales letters, if you show me what you're talking about, I'll bet that if you add up everything, especially in a launch, that if a launch could be a series of 3-minute videos and then a final video that's maybe 12 minutes long or something like that, a minute of video is about a page of copy if you wrote down what the person says.